Welcome to today's session. Let me get this going now. Slideshow from beginning. And I want to get back here. Screen share. Share screen. I want this one. All righty. That worked for everybody, I hope. Let me see. Lost my chat window.
I'm watching chat if you want to focus on the
Yeah, can you do that for me? Because I don't have the chat window. Disappeared once I went into the PowerPoint.
Do you want me to
Okay.
just let you know when someone says something?
Yeah, when there's a question so that we can address it right away.
All
Appreciate
right.
that.
No problem.
Very good. Okay, well, welcome to today's session. Sorry for the delay. We'll get started here. This is a little bit about me, what I do, and what I've done. Basically, I'm a digital marketer, and my focus is helping businesses get found when the prospects are looking for what they do, which is a little different than if somebody gives you, hey, go talk to this XYZ business, and they search for XYZ business and it comes up. Well, you should come up. But if they're looking for what XYZ business does, that's a whole different way of getting found. That's the organic searches. And also when it comes to ads. And what we're going to be doing today is talking a little bit about how to use these tools, Google Ads and Microsoft Ads, to take and help your business get found, and actually how to take and actually maybe use the paid search to increase your reach even further. So paid, of course, you've got the Google Ads, you've got smart campaigns, you've got specific keywords, pay-per-click. There's retargeting, remarketing. Those terms are somewhat interchangeable. Google tends to use remarketing as a term. It's more like retargeting. Remarketing is almost like if you capture the information and you then take an email direct to those individuals. Retargeting is when somebody actually goes to a website, a cookie pixel is actually downloaded into their local computer, and then all of a sudden they go to another website and they start seeing ads for exactly what they had just looked at on your website. So there's organic search results, and 99% of the searches that are conducted on Google, Bing, and Yahoo. There's Ask.com and AOL and DuckDuckGo are becoming a little bit more prevalent, but they only combine with all the other different search tools that are out there, and there's a lot more, that little sliver of what they call 1%. So what is an algorithm? An algorithm, and sorry for putting all these words on the screen, but basically I felt it was helpful to have these on the handout when you actually downloaded it. But it's a process set of rules used by search engines to determine the significance of a web page, okay? And it's used to filter, digest, basically giving the search results matching what the person's looking for. You have to remember that they're written by humans. So what's important to a human is basically what a search engine actually has. And the thing is with how people go about searching, they're actually going about trying to solve their problems, and the businesses have to take and optimize their content on their digital platforms so that they're providing the solutions to those problems that people are searching on. So you may think that you're selling products and services, but nobody really cares about them except you. What people are actually searching on are the solutions to their problems, and that's what you need to focus on. Okay, And this is done through keywords, and there's educational keywords and transactional keywords. For example, hey, I've got some knee pain. What causes knee pain? Well, that's educational. I have knee pain. Who can fix it? You know, I'm looking for a knee pain doctor or something like that, or a surgeon that can rectify knee pain. Well, that's a transactional. And your websites and digital platforms really need to concentrate on both so they can turn up in those searches. Okay, so there's some keyword tools out there that you can use that will help you identify some of those keyword phrases. And there are, I wouldn't say single keywords that you want to focus on unless it is really esoteric to your business. Because, for example, SCORE has a mentor program. Well, mentoring is not the kind of keyword that we're going to focus on. We want to know about business mentoring. So it's a keyword phrase, 2 words. It can actually be a question. And so that's where frequently asked questions are very helpful to actually put onto your website as well. So understanding all those things are important. And those free tools that are over on the left column can actually help you find some of those. For example, I mean, in Google or Bing, even Yahoo or whatever tool, if you go into a search box and you start typing a term, all of a sudden you're going to get some suggestions. Okay, and those are the top suggested keyword phrases that are being searched on. So you definitely want to take and look at those. And also when you take and do a search, at least on the first page of results on the bottom, there are related keyword or related searches listed, usually, you know, like 10 different options. So that can give you some, you know, other keyword phrases that you may want to look at and concentrate about putting into content on your business. Now, most of these tools don't necessarily give you the numbers, okay? And that's what you're sort of looking at, because if somebody's searching on this term this particular month, you get maybe, you know, 10,000 people searching on that term. That's obviously a term that you want to take and use. But if there's only 10 searches, well, that's really not too important unless those 10 searches are going to take and bring $1 million of revenue to your business, then you should concentrate on them. So it's really about what's going to bring the most value to your business. Okay, paid tools over on the other side, wordtracker.com, Ahrefs, keywordcheater.com, and SEO Power Suite. Now, SEO Power Suite is a tool that I actually use. I use the paid version, which is very powerful for what I have. But there's also a free version that you could actually download. Doesn't give you all the bells and whistles, but it does give you some information that may be very helpful to you. Okay, SERP, Search Engine Results Pages. Okay, that's what that term actually stands for. So if you're run across an SEO practitioner and somebody's going to tell you, well, I want to get you the most SERPs that you can, well, that's basically the results that you are looking for. So you get paid ads versus free or organic ads. All right, so on the right basically is a Google search, Small Business Mentor, okay? And you've got 3 ads that pop up on top, and then you've got number 1, find a mentor, and that's SCORE, find a mentor. So, I mean, obviously we're optimizing that page with the keyword phrases that people are looking for, and then the meta description, which is the black text on there as well, to put the keywords in there so the search engine understands what is actually being searched upon, so it can actually return that as the search result. Now, there's more things that are important on a page than just those 2 elements. Find a mentor, SCORE happens to be the page title, and then the black text, of course, underneath is what we call the meta description. Those are 2 key elements for every page on your website, and they have to be unique to each page. Okay, so what ratio do you think that these items are clicked upon? You know, paid ads. If somebody looks at an ad, how many times is that clicked upon versus the organic results? Now, I'd actually wait and for people to tell me that. So you have an ad headline, and there's the description, and like I said, page title, and there's the meta description. Okay, the ratio is 25% paid ads, 75% organic search. And if this was a little more interactive, I'd ask the question, well, why do you think that is? And the basic answer is people don't trust the ads. They think they're being manipulated. Well, quite frankly, if you're optimizing your website properly, you're manipulating that as well. So it doesn't really make that much difference, but for whatever reason, people tend to trust the organic results. Okay, so there's ads and there's different ways to actually go about them. And there's CPM, which is cost per thousand, which is reach. That's very traditional, just like on radio, TV, billboards, that sort of thing. And it's about branding, it's about planting the seed, it's about reach and frequency. And actually, one of the other things that comes into play here is the retargeting aspect, because that's also part of reach and frequency and the CPM kind of way of going about it. And then there's the pay-per-click, and that's a very targeted type campaign where you take and set up something so that when somebody is searching for certain solutions to problems, your ad will turn up. And and it could be results that paid and organic can actually turn up on the same result. So it is important maybe to actually to use both of these kind of tools. And really what it's all about, no matter what you're doing in terms of the search results pages, is to arouse interest, create desire, and motivate action. It's called Marketing 101, or the first 3 steps in closing a sale. It's really about making sure that what is being seen in the search result will arouse interest, stop the person so they read it, create the desire saying, oh, that may be what I'm looking for, motivate action. Of course, the action you want them to take is click the link to bring them to wherever you want them to go. So those are the goals that you have to have in mind whenever you set up an ad campaign, or if you're taking in optimizing your website so it can be found in a search. Okay, so there's some keyword tools that you can use that these two powerhouses, Google Ads and Microsoft Advertising, can provide. And so you'd have to set up an account in both. Like I said, the tools are actually free to use. Now, Google doesn't share a lot. Bing shares a little bit more, but they're very powerful and they're very useful to you to understand in setting up a campaign as well as optimizing your website. Okay, so if you're using the Microsoft tool, you will probably end up needing to multiply the search results by 2.4 to give you, let's say, what the Google numbers might be equivalent in those particular search terms, because that's sort of the ratio. In other words, Google has like a 64% utilization where people are using that tool 64% of the time, and Bing is around 24%, 25% of all searches. So that's where that ratio comes into play. So whenever you see numbers on Bing, you multiply them by 2.4 and you might get an equivalent on what Google does. Well, Google unfortunately only gives you relative search numbers, ranges, like 100 to 1,000 searches average on a month, where Bing is actually going to say you actually had 4,500 searches per month for this keyword phrase. So that's a little bit different. And then also on Bing, you can actually download, let's say, a 12-month history. So you could actually go in there and actually say, okay, download the search results that I have here and give me a look back over the last 12 months. so I can actually find out when I should be writing content or when I should be advertising on these words, because that's when people are searching, because that's when you want to take and do that. You want to take and publish content to take and advertise when people are looking for what you do. That way you're going to turn up in those particular searches. Google, on the other hand, you have to be a power user spending thousands of dollars a month in order to get that same kind of data. Okay, Google likes to do that. They used to have it free, but they don't any longer. Okay, so keyword planner. So when I did this, this is actually from one of my clients. And so there's ad groups, and then there's keyword phrases and keywords that we were actually looking at, and when people are actually searching upon them. So you can find specific words, and then you can also use those tools to find related keywords. In other words, you put the keywords which you think are important to your business and saying, hey, find the related keywords, which are basically the searches that people are actually doing, so that you can actually understand, well, maybe there's some other keywords out there that I don't know about, that people are actually searching on, that I should probably be using. Let me think of an example. Had a client tell me that they wanted to list their business about propane or LP tank refills. Okay, so I actually did this. I went into the tools and I says, okay, LP tank refills, give me some related keyword phrases. I found out that propane tank refills was about 100 times more searched than LP tank. I still use both on their website and on their content, but the thing is, we found out through this particular tool, finding related keywords, that propane was a higher search term. Hey, if the client said just LP, if I would have gone with that, it wouldn't have turned up quite as much, maybe only 50 times a month versus it was almost like several thousand times that people are looking for that term in his particular area, geographic area, during the peak times throughout the year. So like I said, this gives you a sort of a look back, and this is where on this particular client, they put some gutter shields. So I wanted to find out what are the relative terms that people are actually looking at. Well, you can see gutter protection, leaf guard, of course, that's somewhat of a brand name. Leaf filter is another one. And there's nothing wrong with using those. In fact, even if they are a brand name, you could just say, well, we stop the leaves. Our gutters are like a leaf filter to your gutter system, so it keeps the leaves out of the gutters. So that's where you have to look at the average monthly searches, but then if you have a look back, you can see what months they are more searched upon. So that gives you an idea, like gutters and downspouts, searches of July 2018 was higher than the monthly average. Searches in August 2018 were also higher than the monthly average. When it was lower was December. And some of that is just kind of logical. I mean, people are probably not looking for replacement gutters in the month of December, especially in different parts of the country. So this gives them an idea as to when ads should run, as well as when content should be created and published on their website. All right, the keyword planner, you use a keyword list. You start out with that. You actually take and maybe include your website, because the tool, Google or Bing or Microsoft, will actually look at your website, sort of scrape it and see what's going on. What industry, okay? And sometimes the industries aren't going to be very helpful because they're not as specific, because you're not going to find, let's say, an industry on gutter guards. You may find one on home improvement, which is more generic. So sometimes you may not use all these different areas to find related keywords and identify actual keyword search. I mean, they actually identify the actual keyword searches that are being done. And they will give you specific search volumes. I should say Microsoft will do that. Google, on the other hand, gives you ranges, but that's still very helpful because if you've got a range that's, 0 to 100 versus 1,000 to 10,000, you know the value of those particular keywords. You can input a list, so you can actually add the list into the tool to actually give you those particular results. And like I said, you can get the search volumes on an average monthly basis, and then the search history over the last 12 months, Microsoft only, unless you're spending a lot of money with Google. Okay, another form of using the ads is remarketing, retargeting. Okay, and I'm sure you have gone out to a website, looked at a product, and then all of a sudden you go out to a different website or you're on a social media platform and all of a sudden you start seeing ads for those things that you just looked at. It could be exactly what you're looking at, this pair of brown shoes, or in my case, a cycling jersey or something like that. All of a sudden they're popping up. Well, when you went to that website, they downloaded a pixel or a cookie onto your local machine. And the idea is to take and expose the prospect again to your product message. And it's like sometimes if they didn't take, even if they did buy, they're going to see it over and over again. And the idea is repetition builds recognition, and that should ultimately lead to increased sales. It's very traditional in terms of the style of marketing, but we've also found that it's been very effective in terms of actually converting. So if somebody goes to a website, looks at something and doesn't buy, and then they actually go to some other sites, news sites or what have you, all of a sudden they start seeing that particular ad for the product that they just looked at. They may click on the link and then actually go back and buy the product. Okay. And when I say it's very traditional, it is. It's reaching your prospect from other points of view. So it's getting that exposure of your message and brand and product in front of the individual multiple times. Okay. So remarketing, retargeting, like I said, this is how that actually works. It can be working on a cost per click model, okay, where you pay for cost per click when somebody clicks on it, as well as a cost per 1,000 impression. And then there's also another term, cost per acquisition, okay? Now, one of the things that happens here is that over time, as your prospect is being exposed to the message, that the conversion rates do increase, okay? And where are these mostly done? On the Facebook and Google Display Network, and they offer the best reach. Google Display Network is used quite a bit on all the news sites in different areas. And Facebook as well, because Facebook's got several billion users worldwide, and there's a lot of people that are using it now. There's another session that I do about the demographics of the various social medias. Facebook is primarily a 35 and older demographic. So if that fits for your business, that may be something that you want to use. Google Display Network, well, that could be anybody in any tool. It is very powerful for brand building. Again, it's getting that your brand message across multiple times. And one thing about remarketing clicks are ridiculously cheap. And when I say that, it's when you're actually paying for a pay-per-click campaign, for example, Omaha Plumbers or Plumbers in Omaha, you can be paying up to $50 per click to actually outbid the competition on that kind of program. So it can get very expensive. Where if you're doing a remarketing campaign, it could be 50 cents a click. It's ridiculously cheap to do a remarketing campaign. So those things are something that you may want to look at. And it is an essential component for paid search. So you're using that for paid search, social media, and then for content marketers, period. So that's one of the great things about remarketing and retargeting. So what are some of the benefits? Well, you capitalize on lost website traffic. In other words, somebody that came to your website and then left. Well, they really never left because you're going to start showing them ads. You can target people who have already visited your site and shown interest in what you're offering. Okay. You target audiences who are more likely to convert. If somebody actually has been on your website, obviously they have the interest, so therefore they're in the buying mode. They're in the problem solving mode, the purchase decision mode. So they may convert once they see your ad again, okay? And it keeps your brand at top of mind by strategically showing those ads to the people, your interested prospects, in a lot of different places that they are out looking on the web. And it is very affordable. So that's something that you may want to look like. And it is really suitable for every industry and industry vertical. The bottom line is you never want to let your prospects forget about you. So the goal, of course, is sales, and to increase your sales. So it's one thing that you may want to look at in terms of remarketing for your business. Okay, so I want to go into a demo. Before I go, are there any particular questions that somebody might have had?
I do not believe we've received any questions at this time.
Okay, well, let me escape out of this. All right, bring up. Should have remembered that. Okay, hang on. All right, so Microsoft Ads. I started here only because this one gives you the best look, and hopefully everybody can see this. Trying to close down some other windows here. Computer, okay. And the way this is looking, I'm not seeing the whole view, so I want to take and okay. So as I said, you look for the tools, okay? And here is the keyword planning tool. Okay, so we're in Keyword Planner and it says, find a new keywords or plan your budget and get insights for keywords. So if you search for new keywords using a phrase, website, or category, that's one of the things where I said this is where you can get relative keywords. Or if you wanted to get search volume data and trends on a specific keyword list, this is where you would go. So let's start here, okay? And for product and service,
Then, hey, when you've got a moment, I have a question for you.
okay.
So, they asked, do most business owners create their own websites now with sites like WordPress?
WordPress happens to be the most used website builder right now. Over 1/3 of all websites are based on WordPress. When I say that, there's obviously 2/3 that are not. Well, you get into some e-commerce websites and some other news websites, they're not using WordPress. But for most businesses, WordPress tends to be the tool of choice. It is a very robust content management system, and it also has a great number of possibilities in terms of designs and plugins, as they call it, for different tools that you need to do. I mean, you can actually create a WordPress e-commerce website using tools like WooCommerce. So you can actually create a store and have a number of products that you sell online using your own website. There are security issues that you have to, go through and use, but that is the tool of choice. There are a number of other website builders out there, and that is one of the topics we're going to talk about in the coming months in one of these sessions, talking about actually selecting the right website builder for your business. There are, like I said, there's a number of them that are out there.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay. So if we have a product or service, is there somebody in the audience that's online that would want to be, let's say, the test subject here and actually say, hey, what kind of product or service can we look for? Just put something into a chat box so that the moderator can get back to me.
So I have bookkeeping and women's online game day apparel.
Well, let's try bookkeeping. Okay.
So, and then I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Seems that there are 2 WordPress sites. Which one do they use?
Okay. Okay. There's WordPress.org and there's WordPress.com. WordPress.com is the service run by the creators of WordPress, which is also known as Automattic. And that would be a hosted site. You can host your website there. It is a little bit pricey depending upon the level. I usually go the route of looking for a hosting company. And I mean, there's a number of them that are out there. I mean, you've got, people think of GoDaddy as one of those places, and they're okay. They're not necessarily the best. Flywheel is a WordPress hosting site. They are basically strictly WordPress, but you can go to other hosting companies like Bluehost or Green Geeks or WP Engine. I mean, There's HostGator. I mean, there's all sorts of hosting companies that are out there, and you can take and install WordPress on any of those. And then it would become what they call a self-hosted website. And you can select your theme from the free themes or buy a paid theme and put it on there. So that is usually the route most people take, is a self-hosted WordPress website that's installed on a hosting company site of some sort, versus WordPress.com, which is a little bit more limited in terms of the functionality that they offer, because it doesn't allow me to go out to, let's say, any plugin developer or any theme developer and utilize their thing on their website unless I pay a premium to Automatic on WordPress.com to allow me to do that. When I say that, I'm looking at, you know, $25, $30 a month for hosting. Now, if your budget allows it, that's fine. A lot of the other hosting companies, you're looking at pricing that's down around $10 a month. Flywheel's a little bit more expensive, but they do offer some nice security features that other self-hosting sites and hosting companies do not. So you have to sort of add additional security functionality into your WordPress website to keep the bad guys out. Let's put it this way. Hackers are always looking for a way to hack into a site. And since WordPress is crowdsourced, open source software, there's a lot of attempts to by hackers to actually get into WordPress websites, especially if they are attracting a lot of visitors and have search volume. So that's one of the negatives about WordPress, but you can overcome that with a lot of different security tools that are available. Some are very free and some are very affordable. So that's a topic for another discussion though. Okay, so we got bookkeeping. See, now if you have a landing page, you'd actually put that in there. Well, I'm not going to do that. Here we have product or category, and you could say, okay, business and industrial, is there something that's in here? Well, what is it? Business management, maybe. Let's see. Process analysis. No, that doesn't really. Business strategy planning. Corporate events. So sometimes you're looking at these things and going, well, there isn't anything worthwhile putting in there. Which, oh, here we got office. Yeah, office appliances. So this is what I'm saying, is that when you start looking at some of these categories, business categories, you may not find what you're looking for. So a lot of times I just would leave that blank. So we expand the list to as many possibilities and you use yourself as a filter. Now, that can be somewhat dangerous when you're looking at related keywords because you can get tens of thousands of solutions, but that's where you start filtering out those solutions that have very low search volumes or no search volumes. So you just don't want to put that in here. Now, there is a field, well, you have United States, and I usually say targeting, you want the entire country. Okay, now, granted, if there's some seasonal issues, if you're like an outdoor a company that supplies something that is typically installed or used during the outdoor warmer seasons, it doesn't really help to have the United States when it comes to the winter time, because, you know, down south, it's still kind of nice and they may still utilize that product or service, that solution. But I usually go with the United States to give, again, as broad a possibility in terms of numbers, because it gives you relative trends even in the Omaha or local area. You can actually put in Omaha or Bellevue or whatever you want, and it will take and refine that. But again, the numbers all of a sudden start really getting very small, and it may not be as helpful. So that's why I say just keep it as United States, much broader. And if there's different languages that you want to target, hey, this is the place that you can actually add, some different languages as well. Okay, search all networks, Bing, AOL, Yahoo Search, syndicated search partners. Well, this is Microsoft. They're not going to say Google. AOL, that's interesting. It could be that AOL uses the Microsoft search algorithm. And Yahoo might be doing that as well. Okay, now, what are negative keywords? Okay, when I was talking about mentoring, if I took and had business mentoring or just use mentoring as a product or service list of the keywords, because you can use more than one keyword up here, keyword phrase. So if I did like bookkeeping services, okay, but if I had the mentoring, I could actually say negative keywords don't include educational mentoring as a keyword phrase, because I'm not interested in that. So it would actually help filter some of that out. So if we go like this and hit get suggestions, it gives me a big list. Okay, and you can see average monthly searches. Well, like this term, online bookkeeping, average monthly searches on Bing are 0. But you can see some of the other ones, bookkeeper, 1,000 searches a month. Competition, that's for the ad campaigns, it's low. Okay, and then you have suggested bids, $2.30 a click, and that's what this means here. So that's the ad groups, and you can get the keyword suggestions, so you can actually see keyword suggestions in here. And there's 53 rows with 30 items per row. Well, one of the things that I usually say is give me an export. Export the list as a CSV file and segment statistics by month. Microsoft Advertising Editor is a Excel format. So I'm going to export that. And here I'm going to open, oops, come on, open this up. Runs a security scan. Okay. All right, I wanted to make sure that I was sharing the screen. So here is, I'm gonna have to, my monitor here, I don't see the whole screen. So what I do is I click the entire table, I double click this to take and actually give me, a view of all the different keywords. Seed keywords, I use 2, and then keyword ideas. All right, and here's the average monthly searches, and then here go back the last 12 months. So what I tend to do is I'll take and say, okay, let me take and sort on this from Z to A, which is high to low. I want to expand beyond the selection, and voila. Now you see, well, there's nothing there. Well, that's the next step. I go into filter, and I go here, now I got filtering, and I'm going, okay, I don't want 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 searches, and then I don't want blanks. Now my search results show up. Accounting services. So if I was actually just a bookkeeper and I was just focusing on bookkeeping, I would miss out on the word account, a keyword phrase, accounting services. 22,000 searches on average every month. In the month of May, 43,870. So you can see that's above average. June is below average. This is last year. It's just kind of interesting too, because I have an accountant as a client, and he was actually running an ad campaign in the month of November and December for QuickBooks. Okay. So you see one here, quick bookkeeping. QuickBooks is a subset word. I don't see it here just yet, but it was interesting. He called me up after he started this campaign on his own. And he said, you know, it's not really working for me. Well, some of the things is the goals of what he was doing was off, but really, you know, he wanted to fill in some slack time by advertising to generate business on QuickBooks Consulting. Well, hardly anybody was searching during the months of November and December for QuickBooks Consulting. We found that out by doing this kind of research. When we took and actually figured out when it would be a good time, guess what? January, February, March, and April were high months out of the year. Well, that's when a lot of people are doing taxes. So that, of course, is also a very busy time for him. So it's like, why would I want to advertise QuickBooks Consulting then? But that's when people are looking. So if you wanted to get some new clients that were looking for that, that's when you would actually advertise. So this is where this kind of research will reveal that for you. And I excluded some, you know, search terms. So, but still, if I hadn't, there was still over 1,100 words, keyword phrases that actually popped up in search results. They're not all being shown here because I've done a filtering effect. As you can see, there's maybe 75 or 100. So free bookkeeping apps, you could actually write a blog post on why those aren't any good, you know, but it's only 30 searches a month. So, you know, it's like, why bother? But bookkeeping duties, bookkeeping services, restaurant bookkeeping. So it's very specific to an industry. If that's what you're offering, that's what you want to take and do. And then you look at when this is actually being searched upon. The average is 1490. Why? Look at that. May, June, July, hardly anybody. And then you get into November, December, January, February. Those are all high months. So those are the months that you want to take and promote, add, or write content about restaurant bookkeeping. So hopefully that's been helpful. And if you go into Google, it isn't a whole lot different, but let me do that. Let me take and open up another window here for Google. Okay, so here's the keyword tool for Google. And keyword planner. Discover new keywords. This is the get search volume. So there's the two tools. And we're going to do we're not going to put in the website, just like on the other plan. So we can get Google to provide us different words. Okay, like I said, you get into Google and it's going to give you average monthly searches, 1,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 100,000. Okay, and you could see here, they're not giving you specific search results. They're only giving you ranges, but it still is helpful to take and find out, okay, well, pilot bookkeeping. Well, maybe that's something that we need to do. If you're using, I usually suggest that you use both of these tools because they, even though human nature, people, whether they're searching on Microsoft Bing or if they're searching on Google, they're pretty similar across the entire country, but you may get some different things on each one of these tools that might be helpful to you if you're actually writing content, optimizing your digital marketing, as well as running advertising. Outsource bookkeeping, 100 to 1,000, gives you some competition. And that again, if you have something that is low competition, it might be worthwhile to optimize for. If there's something high competition, you may not want to take and spend any money on it, but it may be something that you want to take and utilize and optimize your website for. So those are the things that you have to look at in terms of what are the prices. These are the pay-per-clicks rates over here on the side. Now, Google's not going to give you everything unless you spend buku dollars with them. So, but you can take and do an export, download the keyword ideas. So you can download them, get them in a spreadsheet. I've actually done this where you get the last 12 months. Well, the thing is, they're all blank for 12 months. They don't show you that. Stick this here. Okay, so here's the Google look, and you get the search volumes, minimum and maximum search volumes, your competitive value. And then if you start looking back, you see nothing but blanks when it says searches for the last 12 months. Again, if you're not taking and spending money with them on a major basis, they're not going to share that with you. Google used to, but they did away with that. The one client that I am actually running some campaigns for, I'm not spending enough to actually get that kind of information yet. It may come about. I'll have to see. So let me take and get rid of this. Minimize, minimize. In fact, I'll open up this client.
Hey, we have a question.
Okay.
They asked if you could remind them again what high competition means. Does that mean multiple companies use this keyword?
It's highly competitive, yes. In other words, there's multiple people that are trying to, that are buying ad campaigns for it, that are bidding high amounts for that particular keyword phrase. So it's a highly searched term that is very attractive. Like I said, Omaha plumbers would be, a highly searched term. So that gives you an idea that, okay, that's a search term that I should probably work on and use, but I might not be able to afford running an ad campaign on it because that's not going to take and actually get me what I'm looking for. Maybe it might be better if I find another keyword phrase that also has high search volume, but it is not really competitively bid upon. It's not as competitive, okay? And that would be, let's say, affordable Omaha plumbers, okay? And so that one may have just as many searches or fewer searches, but the cost per click bid is going to be a lot less. So it might be more of a keyword phrase that I could utilize in targeting.
And then one more question. When you say spending enough, what does that mean? Are you talking about the purchase of ads?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't get the first part of what you said.
Oh, when you say quote unquote spending enough, what does that mean?
Oh, it's pretty much what you're talking about, the bid amount. You would say that okay, I know that the term Omaha plumbers, for example, ran about $48 per click. So you would have to say, I want to bid $49 per click. I'm willing to take and, say that $49, if somebody clicks on my ad, I'm willing to pay them $49 because ultimately it's going to give me X amount more dollars in terms of a sale. If I can take them to the page on my website that's going to, again, arouse interest, create desire, motivate action, so that they can call me and then I can close the sale. The weird thing about pay-per-click campaigns is that they don't necessarily mean that if you bid $49, that if somebody clicks on it, that you are going to be charged $49 by Google. They base it on different things back on their back end, time of day, what searches are going on. But by bidding, you're more likely to have your ad appear before your competition. That's part of the game that you play on a pay-per-click campaign. The other thing is, if your ad is not pulling, no matter what you're saying the bid rate would be, your ad is going to take and fall down on the list of what's actually going to be shown as a result by Google. So, you have to make sure that your ads are built around those three principles: arouse interest, create desire, motivate action. If they're not taking and doing that, it's not doing you any good. So, for example, we ran some smart campaigns here for Gutter Defender 911. Okay, that's the local company. They actually have 3 locations, Des Moines, Omaha, and Lincoln. They have 3 franchise locations. So we ran ads in 3 different markets so that we could understand it. And we actually used Google Analytics as well. So there was a tag that was on the ad so that we could actually figure out when somebody went to the website, what they actually did on the website, and whether or not we were able to convert them. So, for example, over the last month, we had 25,000 impressions, but we only had 49 clicks. Okay, well, those clicks were important because those were the people that were really interested in what we were doing. The other 25,000 were exposed to our message and our brand, but we didn't pay anything extra for them. We were paying for the pay per click, and that's what this is. We're paying $236.14 for the 49 clicks. And that happened to be in the Des Moines market area for this particular ad. So, as you can see, we had saved 25% on new gutter guards, materials and labor, never clean gutters again. Have the best leaf filter gutter guard system installed on your Des Moines area home. So we use the words for the people that are in that particular demographic. It helps attract attention and hopefully motivate action to get people to actually click on the link. So same thing would be here. We get an idea on the Lincoln market, 22,000, 47 clicks. We didn't pay as much per click in the Lincoln market as we did for the Des Moines market. So like I said, you can bid a certain amount and be willing to pay it, but Google doesn't necessarily charge you that. So, and the other thing too is you can have a campaign limit. You can take and set it saying, I only want up to a certain amount of money that I'm going to actually spend, or on a daily basis, once I reach $100 a day or $50 a day, I don't want my ad showing again. Okay, so you have daily budgets and campaign budgets. Okay, in Omaha, 23,961. We had more clicks in Omaha. And again, they didn't charge. So new visits from the ad, 90%. Average time on the website was 0.3 seconds. They actually saw it. And whether or not they called the phone number or they filled out the form, that was part of the other demographics and tags that we actually put on there. So we could set up a goal within Google Analytics to figure out, is this being successful? So average pages viewed, 1.5. Well, this is an ad. We're bringing them to a specific page. Certainly we'd like them to look at other pages on the website, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to take and bring them to a page where they would take the next step and contact us. So here were the words that we were looking at, targeting, okay? And it gives us the idea a little bit on the clicks, gutter cleaning, cost of gutters, gutter cleaning Omaha, you know, as far as the search phrases were concerned. But we use these terms pretty much everywhere on all three campaigns. So, and when you set something up, I mean, it's how you schedule it. You can schedule all day, every day, or you can take and actually go through business hours, or you can take and do custom hours where you can take and actually customize it so the ads only show at certain times. So that could be very helpful to you, because if you're want people to call and you're not monitoring the phones at 12 midnight to 6 a.m., then you don't want it to take and reach out. And then let's see, like I said, you could actually add more words. And the thing is, Google will actually, when you start typing the words in there, they'll give you suggested keyword phrases. So here's some more suggestions. So I could actually replace gutters. They're not in, they do replace gutters. That's not their primary focus. Fascia and soffit repair, that is the thing that they do. But again, that's only like, okay, that's the damage of clogged gutters. You're going to have fascia and soffits that get damaged. They don't do window cleaning, so that doesn't really do much good. Downspout extensions, no, that's not really their primary business. So, I mean, it is kind of interesting. You take and start adding gutters, gutter cleaning tools, handyman, roofing contractor, gutter helmet. So you can see the different search terms that they're actually offering to, that you could actually target. So that's a look at the Google ads. Retargeting is a little bit different. I haven't played in that space as much, so I'm not going to cover it. But if you wanted to take and do some, Google the term, you'll get all sorts of different posts and ideas, and even the Google helps to actually help you set up a remarketing targeting campaign. So do we have any other questions?
I think we are all good for now.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for attending today, and look at the DoSpace calendar next month for our next session. I'm pretty sure we'll be doing it via Zoom again, maybe not. we'll see what actually happens as we go into phase 2 of economic recovery here. So, but if you need a mentor for your business, omaha.score.org, go there and you can actually get some free mentoring help for things that will help your business. If you're not familiar with SCORE, it is a great place, a great tool for you to utilize in your business.
Jeff, if I can just intercede, everything for Due Space in June will absolutely be online. We're not sure yet for July, but June, we're still working on the calendar, but everything will be online.
Okay, thanks, Bree.